everybody.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We made it. We made it another
Yeah.
week. So,
Yeah, it's actually quite warm here today. So,
it's a little
whew.
toasty here. You guys are slightly warmer, but we're I think we're gonna hit 90.
Yeah, I think
But
we are too. Somewhere it
but
feels like we're already there.
but we don't have much humidity. The only humidity we had was that week that we had all those thunderstorms, but it's been quite
Right.
pleasant. So,
Nice,
no
nice.
complaints here in the South.
No, it's nice here too, but just a little
Yeah.
warm. So it's okay
Yeah.
though. We
Yeah.
need a little sunshine.
Yeah,
So
it feels good.
anyway,
Good on your old bones.
yeah, it
Get out in
does.
the
Yeah, almost
sun.
like it too,
So,
sitting out in the sun. So
right.
today we're going to talk about
Yes, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about masculinity and different, toxic masculinity versus divine masculinity. And we're not trying to come from a place of blame
nope.
or division or politics, but from a place of healing and
Right.
consciousness.
Exactly.
Because masculinity is energy is sacred. It
Hmm.
protects, it builds, it leads, it grounds, it creates safety. But when that masculine energy becomes disconnected from the heart and disconnected from emotion, therefore disconnected from spirit, it can distort, control, dominate, be
Hmm.
aggressive, cause
And
fear.
it's not just men, women. We're talking about that.
Exactly.
We're talking about masculinity, but there's a lot of women who they're women. They got female parts, but they are mostly masculine. So
Yes, they
we
identify
have that too.
more with that side. And
Right.
we also will talk about that after the flip side of that, which would be the uh, toxic femininity and divine
Okay.
femininity.
Got
So
it.
that's what we're doing. So hope you
That's the
guys,
topic of the day.
yeah. So if that interests you, I hope you stay tuned.
Right. Yes. Thanks. Thanks. Thanks.
All right.
Percy.
Oh, Percy's gonna make an appearance.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get him to stay away. No, Percy.
All right. So what is toxic masculinity then? I don't think it's not just men being, oh, men are they're just being men, you know? It that sort of thing comes from a wounded place. Do you agree?
Not always wounded. Sometimes it's just the way that you're raised.
Wouldn't
Men
that be a
raised.
wound though? Like if you're being
No, not in my opinion. I think that there's a lot of men who not necessarily have to be wounded, but they're just trying to teach their sons how to be real men and work hard, get dirty, you swear, you itch your balls, all of those things. Those I don't always think that that has to be a wound. I just think that some men don't want a sissy. They don't want anybody crying. They don't want anyone talking about their
right.
feelings.
Yeah, it's like
And
man up, don't
right, and
cry.
it's not always coming from a wounded place. I think just sometimes they just, we want our women, our daughters to be loving and kind and not, I myself want mine to stand up for myself. So if she's got to cut someone's eye, then she does. But that's not coming from a wounded place. That's just defending herself. So I don't always think,
Right.
does that make any sense? So I don't
Yeah.
always think
That
that it comes from
yeah.
a wounded place myself.
Right. I think though that, coming from a woman's point of view and a man's point of view is completely different. For a woman, it is a safety issue.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
I
but
don't know.
yeah,
I don't always
yeah,
think it's a
just
wounded area
well,
in the body.
no, 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 no.
Yeah,
We'll just say it
but
can be.
well, no, most definitely can be. Yeah, some guys just don't want their sons to connect to their feelings
Yeah,
and have a conversation that like girls would do. They don't
yeah,
want their men like that. I mean, that's kind of how I see it. They just want them to be manly. That's all.
yeah. And but over time, it conditions that
Hmm.
boy to kind of disconnect from that sensitivity or vulnerability because then they get not punished, but they're not, you know what I mean? It's like stop acting like that. Don't cry.
Right.
They replace it, and it that gets replaced with anger and fear and
Yeah. I don't,
numbness, I
that's,
guess.
yeah. I mean, my husband didn't, we have a son and then we have a nephew that we also, that lived with us for a while. And he never, told them to man up. If anything, he was trying to teach them the manly skills of, building something. But
Right,
whenever they had something on their mind, it was, and maybe that's where the woman or the mother comes in, or the wife or the girlfriend come in and say, okay, what's on your mind? So where he was trying to get them to be manly, I was like, okay, what's the problem here? What's going on with you? So I feel that my husband and I, connected with them on that level of like, okay, let's see what the problem is.
right,
And he never told them don't cry. So that's what I'm saying. It just, I don't know. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. I wish I would have thought about asking my husband what he thought about it, but I think that there's some men that tell him don't cry or what have you, and then there's others who are like, okay, what's the problem? And then they talk about it.
right, right.
If that answered the
Yeah.
question.
Well, it definitely depends on how you were raised for sure,
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
because Chris was raised with girls.
Oh,
And I
okay.
don't know if you ever dated people with that just were raised with girls. I did
Hmm.
a few times, and they just seem to be much more sensitive
Right.
to girl things, just because
Right.
they
Well,
were
they're
raised
around
with,
them.
yes,
They're around them, and they were also kind of taught early on how to treat your sisters. You are
exactly.
good to them. You don't punch them in the face like you would your
Yeah,
brother. So things like
right.
that. So I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, but
You're not gonna,
we
don't throw them down and wrestle them and, I mean, unless they want to be thrown down and wrestled,
well, I mean,
But,
I
a
know.
pack of girls, I mean, a pack of boys, all feral, living together.
Yeah, but
It could be much. I have three, so I know that
right, right.
it it can be a little crazy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think even, even one's enough. But yeah, but I just think that there's just a lot. This is, yeah, I'm just trying to tiptoe through
Yes,
my words here.
we
That
do have
I
to
don't,
tiptoe because we
yeah,
do want to be respectful.
right. And I don't want to offend anyone. So I will just say that, yeah, it just, I get where you're going with it, that, a lot of men will want their boys to, suck it up and push those emotions down or whatever's on your mind and not talk about it because guys don't talk about their feelings. I get all that. But I think in this day and age, it's becoming a little bit more of a common thing for a dad to get down to the son's level and say, okay,
Hmm.
what's on your mind? What's bothering you?
Right. Yeah,
Because
I
I
would
think that
hope
a lot
so.
of
Yeah.
I do think that a lot, not always there, I think that there's some exceptions out there, but there are some people who know that they had wounds, or maybe their mother treated them this way or their father treated them that way, and they don't want to do the same thing with their kids.
Right.
So we went to the pizza place last week, and I noticed that there were a lot of parents interacting with their kids in a way that I have not seen in quite some time. Maybe I didn't pay
Hmm.
attention. I don't know. But they actually got down their level and they're like, why are you crying? What's the matter? Not one dad said, okay, get out there and suck it up, you know?
Right.
Um, and I liked seeing that because that's what you should do with kids. You shouldn't let them, because that's where bullying comes in and they don't want to talk about being bullied because then they look like a sissy or they're not defending themselves. So maybe that's some of it, and it's a little bit more out there that people have kids that are sensitive and need a little bit more attention and a little bit more guidance, and let's talk about your feelings and so forth. I don't know, that's just what I kind of see, and I pay attention a little bit more, especially when it comes to kids.
Yeah. We just have seen a lot of examples of toxic masculinity in the
Mm-hmm.
news. We see it
Oh
every
yeah,
single day, and once you see it and you identify it, you spot it a million miles away.
you sure
It's
do,
just like
no doubt
even
about it.
out in the wild, out in the stores.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when we first moved out here, we took Owen to the gun range, to go shoot guns. I'd never shot a gun before, so I thought I'd give it a whirl. Um, I didn't like it,
Yeah.
but I tried it. Anyways, we get done and we walk out there, and this guy is going absolutely bonkers over a nothing burger. And
Oh.
he's like demeaning his wife, and Chris and I were like, just like, shut up,
Oh
I'll take
my.
care of, like, and
Yeah.
Chris and I looked at each other like, and I was looked at him like, don't even say anything to this man.
Hmm.
And that's like a perfect example. I'm just like, ew,
Right.
ew. It's like, how dare you speak to
Hmm.
the cashier like that and your wife? It's like,
Right.
it was absolutely gross.
He's a total
Uh,
asshole. That's all he
yeah.
is. It's a total
Yeah. It's
asshole.
those dickhead pricks out there.
Hmm.
You know them when you see them. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but that's just,
Yeah. Well,
and
my
there's a flip side to that though too, on the feminine side as well.
and that
That
is.
is the Karen,
Oh. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The Karen
Yeah.
is the flip side of that nosy bitch that just like thinks that they've got to control, I don't know, the sidewalks. You
Okay.
see those
Okay.
videos and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Okay.
think
So,
that's like the equivalent. The Karen is the equivalent to the machismo dickhead.
huh. Okay. I never thought about it like that. That's an interesting point. Huh. Okay. I ha I am learning something myself. I just know that when Taylor was dating this guy, nice family, mom and dad are nice. And so it's three brothers. It's the dad and three brothers and the mom. And so, I mean, my family pretty well. So Taylor was eating dinner with them. And these three boys and the husband treat the mom, the wife, like shit. It's they're sitting down to eat and they got several people there and they're like, "Oh, go get me this." They're talking to the mother. They're talking to the wife. "Go get me this." So she goes to sit down to eat and they're like, "Go get me the bread. Go get me a beer." And Taylor stood up and said, "Why don't you stand up and get it your own fucking self?" And
Good
there
for
was a
her.
there was a man there, a relative, and he said, "Thank you. Finally someone has said it." So other people noticed that these guys were they were just on a power trip. It's control. She's a woman. She's going to do what I want, how I want, when I want. And Taylor stood up and said, "No, you should just do it yourself." And so Taylor says to the mom, "Sit down, let them get it." And I thought, wow, and she's like, "Well, we don't behave like that at home. I would never say to you, and my dad would never say to my mom, get up and go and get me this or get me that when we've all sat down to eat."
Right.
And I just and that's a perfect example of how they kind of gang up on one person, the mother,
Hmm.
but other people saw it and no one did anything about it.
Right. And mom didn't have enough chutzpah to,
Hmm.
stand up for herself and so set
Right,
boundaries.
right.
So, you know, and
That's where
so
you've got to
that's
kind
a
of sit.
dynamic that's
Right,
been
but
probably been going on for years.
obviously it's a way of life for them, but they're nice people. I mean, when you see them you would never think anything, but then when you're around them like that, you could see how they can treat women poorly. And that's why it never worked out with my daughter and this guy, because he was just like, Taylor's like, "No, we don't treat people like that." you know but yeah, so that was an interesting side of me actually getting to see it in a full-blown scenario, watching these people interact, because
Right.
we were around them a few times and we were able to witness that. And my husband's like, "Don't say anything," just like you with the burger.
Yeah.
But it just, and then you got to say or wonder, like, where is the woman and her self-esteem, her self-worth, to stand up and say, "You know what, go do this yourself. Stop talking to
Yeah.
me that way."
Well, that
So
that
you
could
don't.
you could also argue that could be a part of toxic femininity because they take it on themselves. They take in the guilt, they keep taking the shame, they take in anxiety, they take in fear, and that's kind of
Hmm.
where they live. And it's more of a self-imposed toxicity instead of an outward toxicity like the Karen
Hmm.
is. The Karen's out
Right.
in the world telling everyone to put your buggy back and,
Right. But
patrolling,
what are you
the
teaching your
parking lots
kids?
and stuff.
Yeah. What are you teaching your kids by treating someone that way and allowing someone to treat you that way?
I don't
What are
think
you
people
saying to your
think
kid?
people don't I don't think they think about that.
Well, I think that the mom or the wife, whomever, I think later on they probably get a little dose of it from a son who starts treating them poorly, like these people that I'm talking about. Those
Hmm.
boys learned it from somebody,
Exactly.
somewhere. So what is that telling you? You're what you're saying is to your son, it's okay to treat women like that. And what you're saying to your daughter, it's okay to be treated like that. So no, it's all bad. But you got to take responsibility for it, and stand up for yourself. There might be, a big mess, trying to retrain these people to
Yeah,
treat you
they're
with
not
love and
gonna like
respect.
it. Yeah, it's hard to go from
But
the people pleaser to the
right,
get it your
right.
fucking self.
There's pollen or buzz in the air. Sorry. The wind's blowing a little bit here. But yeah, no, this is very interesting because I don't think people realize it. We see it, but we don't really realize where it's all stemming from or what it's called. And some women like being with a man who's going to tell them what to do and how to do it because that's how they were raised. So that goes
Right.
back to like what, when people are raised that way, they're taught. I don't know. I don't know. I think there's a lot more going on behind closed doors than we realize.
Yeah. But so let's look at the positives then. We've talked a lot about the negatives because there's so many. It's
Well,
so
because
easy.
but we see it though, and with social media, we
Yeah.
get to see it. I like
Yeah.
those little short clips on Instagram where there's one where she's a server in a restaurant and the guy grabs her ass and she's like, "Hey, don't do that." And this guy sees it going on and they're harassing her and she's at work and he gets up and defends her. And I'm like, we need
Nice.
more of that.
Right.
We need more people. And I think there's a TV show, What Would You Do? And you see this kind of stuff going on, and it's all a setup. And they want to basically see what the people in the restaurant or wherever you're at, how are they going to react to a man treating a woman like that, or a woman treating a man like that, or a child, or someone that work at work.
Right.
And it's very interesting because a lot of people just sit back and do nothing.
Right, because this is a scary world and you don't know if
Right.
someone's going to pull out a gun and shoot
Right.
you for
Exactly.
stepping forward.
Exactly.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's tough.
It is. There's no doubt about it. But the more that we're talking about this, the more like my mind's going in places where, yeah, you don't want to say anything because you don't know what's going to happen. Is this person going to find out where you live and, you
Yeah,
know, do something to you? Yeah, and I think there's some people who are like that. They thrive on that kind of being mean and being a bully and dark underground dirtiness
yeah.
that they just like doing. Yeah. Interesting. So what is the positive? What's the divine side of
Well,
it?
well, the divine side would be a balance of being a protector but not being controlling,
Yeah. Right.
right? You give the person
Hmm.
their freedom because you trust them and you love them and all the things.
Right.
Um, what else would you say? I mean, it's just the ability to communicate and not
Right.
not
Right. And
hold it all
express.
in instead of
Right.
like or dragging it out of
Right.
them. Like,
Or
what's
or
wrong?
saying to somebody,
Yeah,
connecting and saying, okay, I don't like that you're doing this. And that's that communication and coming from a loving place of
right,
I don't like that
right.
you're doing this. I wish you wouldn't do this. I wish you wouldn't treat me that way. It's about having that common courtesy for your spouse or your whomever you're with, whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, kids, to at least treat them the way that you want to be treated and
Yeah.
talking about it and saying what I don't like. And I think that's a lot of things about people who cheat. If you went to
Mhm.
your spouse and said, I don't like this, I don't like that, let's fix it or let's go our separate ways. but they'd rather cheat for whatever reason, and they think it's going to work out that way. I don't know how that would be, but
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I think a
But
lot of it's an
yeah.
ego is involved. And
Hmm. Or like
I
someone who kills their spouse. Like, why wouldn't you just divorce them? You know what I mean?
talk
Where was the
about go to the
communication?
extreme.
Well, there's
Well,
that goes
some
on
of
too.
those, I watch a lot of murder. Um, I don't commit it, but I do watch
No.
it. But you do see those that, no, she was going to take half of everything. And I'm like, so
And
you'd rather risk going to jail, not even jail,
right,
prison for
for
the
the
rest
rest of
of
your
your
life
life than the
because she
thought
was
of
going
her
to get
getting
half.
half of what you made.
But yeah, so that's not that's a toxic side of it. That's not a positive side. I just think that there's those relationships, and I mean, we probably have known a few people where they just have this really amazing relationship, and it's because they talk everything through.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah,
make a decision without the other knowing
yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
a
It's a
mutual respect.
friendship. Yeah.
Yeah, and all those things. So yeah, they're out there, and
Yeah, they're
God bless them.
absolutely out there. If I were a single person, I'd be extremely, extremely choosy.
Right. Yeah.
Extremely. So, when I think of like earthly divine masculinity, it's going to be that rom-com, heartthrob
Yeah.
in the in
Yeah.
the in the movie. He's
Uh-huh.
perfect. He's funny.
Right.
He's handsome. He has a
Yeah.
great job,
Right.
you know.
And no
So,
baggage and no
and no,
debt.
or they work out the baggage together,
Right.
and
Right.
they get torn apart and then they come together in
Right.
the end. So that is what I think of when I think of like an earthly divine, when you're just we kind of we were talking before we were recording about how it could be taken as like the feminine side of masculinity, tapping more
Hmm.
into the feelings
Right.
that, your feeling center, your communication center, and not being or fear of being emasculated by expressing yourself.
Hmm. Or even like, there's I like those people, those couples where he goes on his vacation with his guy friends, she goes on a girls' trips with her friends. That's trust. And trust is
Hmm.
important. And that's another thing that makes it a positive, relationship is when you could have that trust because not a lot of people trust each other anymore. you know
Yes.
um so that, things like that, I look at things like that and I think, wow, he's going to watch the kids while she's away, she watches the kids when he's away, and then they come back together and it's like they recharge their batteries and now they
Hmm.
could come back into their family unit and become one again. So I think that you got to let them be it themselves. You do what you do. Lonnie lets me do what I want. I mean, he's followed me along some crazy adventures, having these shops and all the stuff that goes involved in it, that kind of stuff. Those are the
Hmm.
kinds of things that you want in a person that lets you be who you are.
Exactly. Giving you
Yeah,
the freedom to do that.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
and and on both ends. And
right.
you
Right.
give it right back. Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I used to go on a girls' cruise every year, probably for about
Aw,
6 or 7 years. And just down to Mexico, just either the Catalina one or, just the one down to
right. But it's nice. It's nice to get away and be a person, not be a wife,
yeah,
not be a mother or a
yeah,
caregiver
yeah.
or,
It's important.
yeah,
You gotta
yeah,
kind of go have fun with your girlfriends, laugh,
yeah.
drink, dance, do what you
Hmm.
want to do.
Do girl
Shop.
stuff and just talk and, just it's just nice to be your own self and ground and get ready to come back to chaos again. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is good.
But
It is.
yeah, it
It's
is
I
a
think it's
battery
important.
charger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the positive um divine femininity would be that the nurture, the
Hmm.
caring, the mothering, the compassion.
Hmm.
Any more adjectives to throw in there?
Just,
Listening. You just
hmm.
feel
It
like the
just,
mother's kind of like the heart of the family.
right.
She,
Hmm.
um, or should be or can be, depending on, there's all different kinds of families. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that that has to be the case, but if you're
Right.
looking
Right.
at a traditional family,
Hmm. I
um,
like the situation, or when I watch a dad with his daughter. And, I don't know if he's got her for the weekend. This was another thing at the pizza place. And he was brushing her hair and
oh,
putting her hair back. And I just thought that's amazing because he could have just like, sent her back out to play, but her hair was in her face and he had this backpack and it was pink and he pulled out the brush and he's brushing his hair and he's trying to talk to the guys and there's, guys and girls there. But that was his daughter. I didn't see her looking for her mom, so maybe she didn't have one or it was his weekend. I
right.
don't know. But the point I'm making is that allowed him to touch into what she needs as a girl, and she needed her hair out of her face. So he
Hmm.
brought up the brush, put it back, and
Exactly.
sent her on her way. And I thought that's a good way to be. So when he does find someone, or maybe with his wife, hopefully they have that mutual respect that he would treat her the same as he did his daughter.
And likewise for the daughter, go
Mm-hmm.
find a man that is going to, brush her hair out of her eyes when she needs
Yeah,
her, or hold her
yeah.
hair
But
back when she needs to throw up
yeah,
because she
it
had
was so cute
10
though, yeah.
margaritas.
Oh God, that's being in a coma. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I like seeing stuff like that where you see the dad and he's, got the pink backpack brushing her hair. I just
Yeah.
thought that was like the
He's doing a
sweetest thing.
yeah, he's doing a good
Yeah,
job. Good job,
yeah,
Dad.
yeah. And she had to go to the bathroom and he said, "Well, let's go." He didn't say, "Okay, go ahead and go in there." He
Right.
followed her in there and I just think that I like seeing that, but it should always be that way.
Right.
Always. No
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just seems that especially with the political arena that we're involved in right now,
Hmm.
it just seems to be more on display. Just like
Oh yeah.
it's like warfare out there with
Yeah.
the
Literally
machismo and the
everywhere.
Karens and it's
Hmm.
like, ugh, you guys fight it
Yeah.
out there.
Right. Right. Now I
Uh,
know. So that's where you just got to pull into that heart center and just be who you are and love and have
hmm
respect for people. And
Yep. And when you see that, it's just like I always say, oh, thank God Chris isn't like that, or thank God I'm not
mhm.
like that, or that's not my life.
Right. Right.
Because it
Yeah.
wasn't always sunshine and roses. I was married before and it was very toxic. So I know
Yeah.
the flip side.
Right.
So I do know what I'm talking about
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. No, you
Uh,
do. You do. You're coming from experience.
I
So
am
how
coming
about,
from experience.
yeah.
So I know for me, I was like, I'm perfectly happy being single.
Hmm.
I was single for 3 years, dating and stuff, but I always said, I'm good. I
Yeah.
love true love or, a partner.
Hmm.
And every time I go by a fountain, I would flip a coin and I'd say true
Aw.
love. And however that showed up for me. So,
Right.
and then I just forget about it. True love,
Yeah.
and forget about it. And
And
look
then came
where
Chris.
in walked Chris. I think I walked
Yeah.
in. I think I was the
Oh,
walker inner
nice.
in that establishment that served
And how
alcoholic
long did you
beverages.
date?
Um, gosh, let's see. Um, 99 is when we met,
Oh, okay.
and we got married in 2001.
Oh, okay. So a couple
Yeah,
years.
couple years. We kind of knew right away.
Oh,
We
okay.
moved in together right away.
Oh, nice.
So, I don't know, it just kind of happened fast. It just seemed perfectly normal and natural. And so,
Well, it felt right, so that
yeah,
was what was
yeah, it did.
important.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and here we
Whenever there's a
are.
red flag, you should always go with it if there's a red flag.
Yes, it's our 25th wedding anniversary this year.
Oh, how awesome is that?
Yeah. Yep.
That's
We were going to go to New York, but I don't know if I told you, my oldest is getting married in Vegas. So they're getting
no,
married in October, on October 10th. And our anniversary is
really.
October 20th. So I guess we're going to Vegas for our anniversary.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
So,
That is nice.
yeah. And what about you guys? You guys been together since high school. I
Well,
mean,
actually, to be honest, ours is more of a divine connection. So I first laid eyes on Lonnie. I was 8 and he was 10. We didn't know each other. And I was sitting at the back in the day, well, it's still there, but now it's expanded. So there was a baseball field called Swick Field. And I was sitting in Elsinore. You went to the skating rink, you went to the go-kart or the baseball games. So I was sitting at the bottom bleacher. This is the honest to God truth. And I look over and there is this boy on a bike. He had cutoffs on. I still remember this, cutoffs on, and I was 8. He had cutoffs on, tube socks up to his knees, like Van tennis shoes, I think. And he was on a bike. And I remember looking over at him and thinking, I'm going to marry him. And I was 8 years old. And I've never forgotten it. And then I met him in high school, and he said, "Were you sitting at the bottom of the bleacher a long time ago?" And I said, "Yes." And he remembered me.
that's
And
crazy.
I know, and I've never ever forgotten it. And he goes, I remember you sitting there, you were by yourself. And I said, and you were on your bike. And he goes, yeah, my mom used to let me ride my bike all the way to they lived a ways away, but back then you could do that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, yeah.
And, so I've never forgotten it. I still remember what he had on and what his bike looked like and everything.
That's so
So,
cute.
oh, and then we finally
Oh,
met up in high school or junior high and high school. And
the rest
that's
is
it.
history. That's
Yeah.
right.
So,
Yeah.
you
So,
just never know. Yeah.
yeah.
That's why I like that part in Sweet Home Alabama where, they were friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, I think they were little, and he
Hmm.
wanted to kiss her or something like that. And she said, I could kiss you whenever I want. And then they came back together. So Lonnie and I are like, that's like us. I know it's corny, but it happened.
Oh, it's cute. It's
So
cute.
I like it. Yeah. Anyway.
Anywho, anyways, yeah, so that's our TED Talk for
Yeah.
yeah. No, just
Well,
something to think about, and just
yeah.
especially
And
if you're
again,
yeah, especially if you're in the position there where you are actively looking,
hmm
I would definitely, list out some qualities and,
yeah.
get clear
And I
on what
think
you
the
want and
sad
don't
part of
ignore red flags.
right. And if you are in a relationship where it is toxic, and yeah, it's not so easy to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to pack up my kids and I'm going to start my
Yeah,
life over
exactly.
because you have no job, no money. And to be honest with you, there's a few women that came into the store who had toxic relationships, and I said, well, this is what you're going to do. When you go to the grocery store and you spend $100 on groceries, you spend 125 and you pocket the 25 and you start saving some money for yourself.
Hmm.
And I had one customer who did that and saved up enough money and left. So there's ways to go
Hmm.
about getting out of a
Yeah.
relationship. You've got to know that you're worth it. And I know you've got kids, and I know that sometimes men and women too, I'm sure there's the other side of it, who make it a little rough for you to get out of a situation because you kind of did create. You gave up your career, you're raising kids, and now you're stuck at home, or you feel you're stuck at home in a toxic relationship. There are ways to get out. You just got to plan a little bit better
Yeah.
and figure out a
Yeah.
way to get out
Yeah.
because life is too short to be
Yeah.
living with someone that makes you miserable.
Absolutely. And know that eventually it will get better, not right away.
Mm-hmm.
It took me 6 years to disentangle,
Mm-hmm.
to get this
Right.
person away from me forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
And it
how
takes
long it took.
time. Right. And it does
So,
take time, but it takes planning. But sitting there not doing anything about it, it does not help. and you're just stuck in a
Yeah.
relationship that
Yeah.
is just toxic and brutal, and you're not treated with respect, and you got to have enough respect for
Yeah.
yourself to want to get out of it
Yeah.
or
Nobody
fix it.
deserves that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or fix it.
no, or fix it. You offer some therapy, you do all that you can if you have the relationship that you want to be in, but if not, you need to figure out a way to get
Yeah.
out of it because life is too short to get stuck with someone that you don't like. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my thought.
Okay. Well, that's a good thought.
Yeah.
That's a good thought.
So
So,
we'll come up with another interesting one because this one is interesting. And there
yeah.
are some more things I would like to say, but again, we don't want to step on any toes
No,
and
no,
say
no.
something
We were
that's
just
not
brushing the
appropriate.
surface, and
Yeah, yeah.
you can dig deeper if you want to, and
Yeah.
think about these things, and think about the relationships you have with the men and women in your life,
hmm
and if they're dialed in how you want them dialed in, and if not, then
Right.
how do we fix this, and how do we tweak this?
hmm Right. Exactly. And if your relationship's shit. You just
Yeah,
do.
you do. Yeah.
You do. You just got to figure a way to fix it or get out of it. Yeah. Again, life is too short. You got to enjoy it while you have it. You do.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my thought.
Anyways, I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Yes. Have a good one. Enjoy the weather. It's going to be beautiful here. I think it's going to be in the 90s here. So
Nice.
summer's fast approaching.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Hot,
anyways,
hot, hot.
enjoy, and you have a wonderful weekend yourself,
Thank you.
Leslie.
And
We'll talk to
yourself.
you soon. All
All
righty. Thank
right.
you.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
good one. Thanks. Yes.
Okay. And I didn't shut us off.
So you recorded it because I don't think it recorded to my computer. It said the cloud.